Titans this week. We sent you an alert this morning when the NFL made the announcement. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Peggy Finnegan.
And I'm Gordon Lesh. Channel 11 Sports Director Aviation has been on this story since it broke yesterday. He joins us live from the Steelers headquarters on the south side. Albie, what are you hearing from the team?
Gordon and Peggy, I think it's safe to say that most of us were thinking that a decision would come down today and that they would play this game Monday or Tuesday, but that is not the case. The league says that the game has been rescheduled for later in the season after one additional Titans player and one additional staff member of the Titans tested positive for COVID-19. All right, here's the statement from the NFL. The decision to postpone the game was made to ensure the health and safety of players, coaches, and game day personnel. So this becomes an off week for the Steelers. They will, however, continue their practices. They're scheduled to practice momentarily here on the south side at their headquarters. The Titans facility, by the way, continues to be closed. No in-person activity for the Titans. But the big news, this game between the Steelers and Titans, originally scheduled for Sunday, has been postponed until later in the season. We'll try to get some clarity from the NFL on just when that might be later today and in the coming days. Reporting live on the south side at Steelers headquarters, I'm Albie Oxenrider, Channel 11 News.
All right, thanks, Albie. Also breaking news, a state lawmaker from Franklin County who was in the state capitol Tuesday has tested positive for COVID-19. Republican Representative Paul Schemmel says he had mild symptoms yesterday, started self-quarantining, and got a test. Schemmel says as soon as he got the results yesterday, he notified the appropriate House offices. Severe Weather Team 11 meteorologist Jessica Faith joining us now.
And Jessica, it is chilly out, but boy, is it a pretty day out there. I understand, though, some of us could get some rain tonight.
Yeah, so later today, mainly after sunset, we could see a few isolated showers, isolated being the key word. Right now, temperature's really not that bad, 60 degrees, good bit of sunshine outside. We see the beautiful view in Pittsburgh right now. Winds picking up just a bit, but not expected to be as strong as yesterday, coming out of the south-southwest about 10 miles per hour. So there's that small rain chance for later today. Coming up in about 15 minutes, I'm going to go into more details about when you can see showers and aware with the latest storm tracker. We do have an isolated rain chance for Friday. Looking to be dry for Saturday. Actually, most of your weekend looking dry. Sunday, we could see a few showers late in the day. More details about rain chances and your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Pitt researchers continue to make progress on a treatment for COVID-19 patients.
It's not a vaccine, but as Channel 11's Mike Holden learned, it could still play a big role in beating the virus.
Researchers have been hard at work behind the scenes, testing therapies to better treat COVID-19. They say timing is essential, and they want to move on this before it's too late. The University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine is running one of 25 sites across the country where they are testing therapies to treat COVID. Their overall goal right here is to keep patients out of the hospital and offer assistance before their condition worsens. They say timing is crucial. Phase 2 of this trial is underway right now. It's part of the National Institute of Health's active initiative, and it's funded through Operation Warp Speed. 110 participants will get an antibody infusion. The other 110 will get a placebo. If the medicine delivers positive results, the trial will then move to phase 3. The associate professor of medicine at the University of Pittsburgh says this trial is high priority, and the sooner they can get results back, the more lives they can potentially save.
We are all getting tired of this. This has been many, many months, many lives lost, and the quicker we identify treatment, the quicker we can get back to somewhat closer to a pre-COVID era.
And the doctors and researchers behind this study say they need your help. Coming up on Channel 11 News at 5, we're breaking down the importance of how you can make a difference and how you can actually sign up to be a part of this starting at 5. Reporting in Oakland, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
And police reform is back in the headlines today. Right now, Mayor Bill Peduto is leading a roundtable discussion on what should be done here in Pittsburgh. City leaders committed to reforming police practices following several Black Lives Matter protests this summer. Back in July, City Council approved several measures, and they include a ban on chokeholds, a ban on buying surplus military equipment and weapons. It also funnels city funds away from the police recruiting and into social programs instead.
The Pittsburgh Bureau of Police said it respects the council's recommendations, but taking away funding from police recruits will impact the ability to have a diverse department.
During today's meeting, Mayor Peduto will be joined by area law professors as well as city employees. You can tune in tonight at 5 and we'll let you know what comes out of today's meeting.
The Presidential Debate Commission is promising changes after 2 days raucous face-off in Cleveland, and Americans are weighing in on what they saw. Tracy Potts is in Washington with the fallout from the first debate.
President Trump overnight in Minnesota marking his own debate scorecard.
Last night I did what the corrupt media has refused to do. I held Joe Biden accountable for his 47 years of lies, 47 years of betrayal, and 47 years of failure.
But undecided Americans say otherwise.
I'm happy that my children were not awake to see that and the behavior.
Even some top Republicans not happy with the president's performance.
Well, let me just say with the debate, it was not Lincoln Douglas.
With viewership down 11 million from 4 years ago, the Presidential Debate Commission is looking to change the format to prevent Mr. Trump's constant interruptions.
Maybe we should give the moderator a mute button. The commission's got to get a lot tougher when debate participants don't follow the rules.
I think it was just a national embarrassment.
Democratic nominee Joe Biden says he's not sure what to expect at the next debate in 2 weeks.
I hope we're able to get a chance to actually answer the questions that are asked by the persons in the room. But God only knows what he'll do.
The president also distancing himself from the white supremacist group he emboldened Tuesday.
I don't know who the Proud Boys are. I've always denounced any form.
The group now using the president's words as a rallying cry. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
New at noon, America's job recovery is continuing, but slowly. Another 837,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment claims last week. That was down slightly from the prior week. However, last week's figures do not include updated numbers from California. The state paused processing claims for 2 weeks, so the Labor Department had to estimate the numbers there. As for continued claims, that number stood at 11.8 million. Continued claims count workers who have filed for benefits for at least 2 weeks in a row.
Democratic leaders in the White House will try again today to piece together a last-minute coronavirus rescue package ahead of the election. Channel 11's Jacqueline Fell has been following the developments this week and explains whether most Americans could see another round of direct payments.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin are trying to hammer out a deal on a coronavirus rescue package. The sticking points, they say, is the price tag, especially how much money goes to state and local governments.
We're hopeful that we can reach agreement because the needs of the American people are so great. But there has to be a recognition that it takes money to do that.
Pressure is mounting. Unemployment numbers are still high. Airlines are warning of massive furloughs and layoffs, and virus cases are starting to tick back up again. House Democrats scaled back their $3 trillion plan to $2.2 trillion this week. It includes direct payments, aid to airlines, and money for child care, schools, and funding for testing. Republicans have balked at the high cost. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell called a path to a bipartisan pandemic relief deal increasingly unlikely ahead of Election Day. He said yesterday that the two sides are still very, very far apart. We're watching the clock here because lawmakers are set to leave Washington this week and are not scheduled to come back until after Election Day. Reporting outside Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
The Democrats' bill, as it stands now, would include $25 billion to prevent layoffs at airlines. But until it passes, carriers are planning sweeping layoffs. At least 30,000 workers could be off the job by the end of today. The carriers say they are running out of money. When the pandemic hit, the airlines promised not to cut jobs until October 1st at the earliest. In return, they got $25 billion from the government. But September is over and the airline travel is still down about 70% from last year.
I don't have a backup plan. I'm going to be in the unemployment line like so many other people.
American Airlines plans to start furloughing 19,000 workers today. United also plans to cut 13,000 jobs.
Meantime, Allstate Insurance also plans to lay off thousands of workers. In all, 3,800 people will lose their jobs. That's about 8% of its employees. About 1,000 of the layoffs are linked to pandemic-related refunds that Allstate is giving to its customers. The pandemic resulted in people driving a lot less, especially in the early months. As a result, there were fewer accidents and fewer claims, and Allstate was one of many insurers that reduced policyholders' bills.
New at noon, the Bloomfield Halloween Parade has been canceled for this year. Now in its 52nd year, the family event was supposed to happen on October 29th. Organizers say COVID-19 restrictions make it impossible to go forward, and they plan to bring it back next year.
This afternoon, healthcare activists will hold rallies across the country, including right here in Pittsburgh. They're calling on governors to expand access to Medicaid to all residents during the pandemic. Put People First PA is a grassroots human rights organization, and they are leading the charge. Channel 11 will have a team at the local rally. You can look for updates beginning tonight at 5.
The head of the FAA got a first-hand look at the changes being made to the Boeing 737 MAX. FAA Chief Steve Dickson flew the grounded jetliner yesterday. Federal regulators are evaluating proposed safety changes to the planes. The 737 MAX has been grounded worldwide since March of 2019 after 2 crashes killed 346 people. Boeing says the pulling of the planes from the sky has cost them at least $18 billion. Dixon is a former airline pilot who flew earlier versions of the 737. He says he has some suggestions for new changes, but didn't say what they are.
Finding a COVID-19 vaccine is tough enough, but it's not the only challenge. The obstacles health officials expect to face down the road.
And 3 workers are taking the Port Authority to federal court. Why? The PAT says they don't have a case.
Hey, what's up, Pittsburgh? It's me, Kelly Clarkson. Join me every weekday at 1 p.m. right here on Channel 11 for The Kelly Clarkson Show. Season 2 is full of your favorite stars in film, TV, and music, and everyday heroes in your community. See you at 1, y'all.
When news is happening near you, Channel 11 is there.
Aliquippa, Coraopolis, Moon. We cover news everywhere you live.
That's what makes Channel 11 News different.
We're in McCandless, Cranberry, Butler. For news from where you live,
watch Channel 11 News at 5.
Watch the Kelly Clarkson Show weekdays at 1 p.m. right here on Channel 11.
Students at Pivick Elementary in Plum will be learning remotely for at least the next 2 weeks, and that comes after a staffer there tested positive for COVID-19. District leaders say that building will be deep cleaned before any students will be allowed to return. Also, the Penn Trafford School District is closing Level Green Elementary for 5 days. 3 staff members there have tested positive for the virus. Students will get remote instruction during the closure, and the school building will be sanitized and disinfected. And this weekend's football game between Clairton City and Bishop Canavan also canceled. According to Clairton, they are taking precautions after several athletes showed COVID-19 symptoms, but as of today, there are no confirmed cases.
New cases of COVID-19 only underscore the need for a vaccine, but approving one is only half the battle. After that, health experts must determine how to distribute it and who gets it. NBC's Sarah Dolph has that story.
The race is on to develop a coronavirus vaccine and distribute it ethically and efficiently. In Massachusetts, the bulk of Acme Dry Ice's business is from vaccine manufacturers.
We've gotten calls as far as California, Seattle, Chicago, Texas.
Several of the leading vaccine contenders must be stored at sub-zero temperatures. UPS building freezer farms. Hospitals and states asked to plan now.
This is definitely probably the most daunting task that we've had to undertake.
The first doses will likely be limited, possibly covering as little as 5% of the country's population.
The first round or 2 or 3 of vaccination won't be sufficient to achieve that level of population immunity.
A CDC advisory group is recommending those initial doses go to healthcare workers and high-risk groups, expanding to others as more doses are manufactured and possibly more vaccines approved.
There are different platforms to deliver the same technology, essentially. So I fully agree that if a vaccine works, we'll likely have multiple vaccines.
All Americans likely will have access to these new weapons in the fight against COVID within a year to a year and a half of their approval. Each phase in the process complex and critical. Sarah Dolph, NBC News.
Another challenge for health experts, convincing approved vaccines are safe and effective. A recent Pew study found about 50% of Americans say they'd probably or definitely get a COVID vaccine, but that's down about 20 points from May.
Cruise lines cannot sail out of U.S. ports through at least October 31st. That is the new rule from the CDC. The agency says since March 1st, there have been more than 3,600 reported cases of COVID-19 or COVID-like illnesses on cruise ships in U.S. waters. A federal health official says the CDC wanted to extend the order into next year, but couldn't convince the White House to do that.
2 local counties have been added to Pennsylvania's drought watch list. They are Armstrong and Butler. We put this map together, and that shows Indiana and Fayette counties. If things continue to stay dry, the state environmental protection agencies say that residents will be asked to reduce water consumption.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
And the latest drought monitor was released this morning, and we see that most of the area is abnormally dry, with even to our north and east in a moderate and even severe drought. But for our area, we had less of the area shaded in last week, and the drought monitor is released every Thursday, and this is what we're seeing right now. Again, most of the area shaded in and at least an abnormally dry situation. Right now, we're still dry, which makes for good afternoon weather for you to go get some lunch anytime soon, or even as you go out and about throughout the rest of your day. Now, notice off to our north, we see a few showers. Some of those showers will slide in as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon into the evening, especially tonight. And we do need the rain just like we mentioned. So storm tracker showing within the next hour, still staying dry, good to go, even less cloud cover. So seeing a bit of sunshine for the early afternoon hours. Cloud cover will build as rain chances build. So around 5 o'clock, we're still looking mostly dry, so your evening commute should be good to go. A few of those clouds popping back up, though, and as we go towards sunset, could see a few showers. The key word being isolated, so not everyone's seeing rain. What we really need, though, is some widespread showers to really give us that beneficial rain that we need to kind of help those drought conditions. But we'll take what we can get. In the time that the rain does come, a lot of us will be inside at this time around 10 o'clock. Hearing the pitter-patter of raindrops as you may be headed to bed sometime soon, and maybe even hearing those raindrops throughout the nighttime hours. So that's what we have for today. Temperatures right now in the 60s, really not that bad. Depending on your comfort level, still may need to grab a jacket before heading out for lunch during your midday hours. 60 degrees in Pittsburgh, 64 in Beaver. 61 degrees right now in Washington and in Greensburg. As we go throughout the afternoon, staying in the low to even mid 60s today, a mix of sun and clouds, seeing more sun within the next few hours and then more cloud cover later this evening before those showers spark. A few showers will remain later tonight. And look at how cool we get. Check it out, 44 degrees. Maybe a few heaters will be running tonight and especially tomorrow morning as you head out and about, going to work, going to school. May want to have the heaters running, have that jacket or even coat in hand as you wake up tomorrow morning, only rising into the upper 50s. So on the cooler end of the spectrum as we wrap up your work week, heading into the weekend. If you have plans Saturday morning, know that it's going to be quite chilly at 38 degrees, rising into the upper 50s once again. Overall, your weekend is looking pretty quiet. We could see some showers during the second half of the day, later into the evening and into the nighttime hours as well. Slight warm up as we go toward your Monday, 63 and mostly cloudy.
Vitalent is calling on you to help save lives. The nonprofit says it's making sure that donors stay safe during their blood drive this week. You can stop by any 10 of their local centers. This is Channel 11's Aaron Martin donating. Vitalent says donations are tested for COVID-19 antibodies. That way they can let you know if you've had it and if your plasma, might be able to help COVID-19 patients.
PennDOT is giving more time for drivers to get their commercial driver's licenses renewed. The agency says commercial drivers now have until November 29th to get their licenses up to date. The extension for non-commercial licenses and permits expired on August 31st. PennDOT says it's going to continue to adjust issues, and if more extensions are needed, they'll pass those along.
Homes gone, lives lost, and the fires are still burning. A report from the front lines of the western wildfires coming up.
And time is running out where you can still get a free mask in Pittsburgh while supplies last.
Hey! Attention, all personnel. We got to nip it! We are there. I know nothing. Nothing.
You can find MeTV on Comcast 190, 207, or 1169. Watch David Johnson and Peggy Finnegan on Channel 11 News at 5.
3 Port Authority employees are suing so they can wear Black Lives Matter masks.
The federal lawsuit claims the uniform policy violates their First Amendment right to free speech. This protest was held last month when employees were suspended for violating the policy. The suit alleges the organization is trying to eliminate employees' rights to social justice. For more than 50 years, this has been a Port Authority uniform policy. They say in part, buttons, stickers, jewelry, and clothing of political or social protest nature are not permitted to be worn. And in July, the policy was amended to include face masks. A Port Authority spokesman could not comment on the lawsuit, but last month they issued a statement saying that if they allow uniforms to be used as a message board for political or social protests, then they must allow all messages, and that could disrupt their ability to deliver safe and efficient services.
A new report out today paints a grim picture for casino workers. Since the pandemic, Pennsylvania casinos have cut more than 6,000 jobs. All 12 casinos in the state were shut down for at least 2 months when the pandemic hit, and business remains slow because of capacity limits. Also, some casinos were only able to bring back 70% of their staff.
The Need a Mask, Take a Mask campaign for Pittsburgh police is winding down. The department has given out more than 100,000 masks since May. They're available at all 6 police zones and 2 substations, but when the current supply runs out, it will not be restocked. A new Goodwill store and donation center is expected to open in just a few weeks in Penn Hills. It will be at the old office furniture warehouse in the Penn Hills Shopping Center. Officials call this area a good fit. Right now, the closest center is in Monroeville. The new store will create about 20 new jobs.
Still looking for answers. 5 undecided voters sound off on Tuesday's presidential debate.
Black people are like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm good.
And trying to change minds quickly, the local campaign to make sure everyone is counted before this year's census ends.
Channel 11 News and NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
We're a team you can count on to cover stories that impact your life,
whether it's across the street or around the world.
Channel 11 News at 6.
And NBC Nightly News at 6:30.
You're watching WPXI Now, your source for original local shows. Avoid scams, save money, and find great deals. Top consumer advocate Clark Howard. Weekdays at 8:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. on WPXI Now. Watch Catherine Amenta and Gordon Lesh on Channel 11 Morning News.
The deadline to be counted in the 2020 U.S. Census is just days away. Now there's a push to make sure communities of color are not missed in the census.
Channel 11's Ryan Houston learned about a campaign to make sure that everyone is represented at the highest levels of government.
The message is loud.
Get your voter registration taken care of and also register for the 2020 U.S. Census.
That's Corey Langford. He's a census influencer working with other leaders in the community. They're playing music, giving away free food, and at the same time trying to fight the negative stereotypes some in the black community have about answering questions related to the U.S. Census.
Black people in the African-American community are nervous about the government. They really don't trust the government, There's been so much going on with everything with injustices and a lot going on with, politics that black people are like, you know what, I'm okay, I'm good.
The misconceptions are real, as Brother Corey mentioned, but we know that the data is safe, it's confidential, it's protected by Title 13 of the Constitution. We've been doing this since 1790.
Their campaign is trying to make sure people in areas like Homestead, McKeesport, and Clarendon are counted in the census. The census numbers determines how many federal dollars are spent on hospitals, schools, and other programs. It also determines how much representation an area will receive in the U.S. House of Representatives. Experts say it can also help businesses and developers choose where to set up shop, which can also create jobs.
We can't get those federal funds for a lot of programs that we need, like Section 8, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP program, a WIC program. These programs for these families are needed, but if you're not represented in that community, then those federal funds are not going to get put in that community.
Ryan Houston, Channel 11 News.
At last check, the last day to be counted in the census is October 5th, so you do still have a few days left. And we put the information on the WPXI app if you would like to fill out the questionnaire online or by phone. So it's cool out there, but it's really sunny and pretty.
Yeah, it sure is. Severe Weather Team 11 meteorologist Jessica Faith joins us now. And Jessica, there's a chance for rain before the day is over.
Yeah, so go ahead and get outside while it's still pretty nice, especially this afternoon, because rain chances grow as we move closer to sunset, especially this evening and tonight. Right now, you may see the camera shaking a little bit, just a little windy. Not as windy as yesterday, but overall pretty beautiful. You see the nice conditions outside right now. A few showers again later in the day. Also, we're going to keep it on the cooler side. May need to keep your jacket or sweater close by. But we're looking even colder for tomorrow and even at the start of the weekend. I'll have more details about temperatures, just how cool it's going to get this weekend, and upcoming rain chances, including this weekend. More of that coming up in about 15 minutes.
All right, thanks, Jessica. Decision 2020 coverage now, and there's a new push in Pennsylvania to create an election integrity committee.
The committee would investigate, regulate, and review the upcoming November 3rd election. They would also have subpoena power. They will also recommend if new voting reform is needed. The GOP proposal would be debated and voted on in the State House as soon as today. Democratic lawmakers say they won't vote for it. They claim it's an overreach of power with potential for abuse.
Glitches in Pennsylvania's voter services website are not the result of any malicious activity. That's according to the state's top election official. Recently, voters said that they haven't been able to register to vote or access other services on the site. The Secretary of State says they're looking into the problem. Channel 11 has an entire section on our website dedicated to the election. Just visit WPXI.com and click on the Decision 2020 banner. You can find information on voting deadlines, polling places, and how to file a complaint.
More fallout from the rough and rowdy debate between President Donald Trump and Joe Biden. The election is less than a month away, and for some voters, the two men did little to help them pick a candidate.
Not informative at all.
It was a hot mess.
CNN sat down with 5 of those voters. Some were disappointed with Biden telling a sitting president to, quote, shut up. Others were put off when President Trump refused to condemn a far-right group. On the issue of the president's income taxes, most in the group said they don't care what the president did or did not pay. But there was one thing the group seemed to agree on.
If you asked me who I was voting for today, I'd probably write in a candidate.
I'm going to be undecided until the day before I walk into the voting poll.
Biden and the president have 2 more chances to sway voters. There is a debate October 15th and one October 22nd.
Now to Northern California, where we've been following those devastating wildfires. 4 new deaths have been confirmed in one fire. And officials fear hundreds of homes may have been lost in another. NBC's Miguel Almaguer is on the front lines showing us what residents and responders are up against.
Hillsides, vineyards, and neighborhoods, all igniting with terrifying speed.
Everything we made here is gone.
Overnight, fires exploding in multiple directions across Napa and Sonoma County, now threatening more than 22,000 structures.
It was within 5 minutes, the entire side of the hill was on fire.
Veteran firefighters say few people understand how quickly fires can spread, often a deadly mistake.
It'll throw an ember out or something that's hot up to a mile, maybe 2 miles out ahead of the main front of the fire. And then next thing you know, you're trapped between the new spot fire that just started and the main front of the fire.
When flames tore through this area, little could be done to stop it. Multi-million-dollar homes and smaller properties are a total loss.
Across the region, hundreds of homes have burned. And so is this Christian elementary school in St. Helena, where Mangina Velasquez works.
Oh, how sad. This is the preschool playground where the kids were running and playing. It's all gone. It's burned.
World-renowned restaurants and wineries have also been destroyed or damaged.
Trying to rinse off any dirt or ash that's on the grapes.
Todd Heth is the winemaker at Fairwinds Estate, which now looks like this.
We're disappointed and gutted, and you know, it's a tragedy.
But during the harvest, there's no time to reflect on the disaster. A fellow winemaker offered up his facilities so Heth can crush and salvage what he can of his crop.
This has really burned right across the valley, so it's really kind of a scar on the valley, but I know that we'll come out of it. I know that things will bloom again.
This morning, hope for renewal in a beloved part of California still under siege.
To give you some perspective, across the West, more than 44,000 wildfires have exploded over the summer and have torn apart 7.1 million acres. Firefighters say they take this battle day by day and home by home. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News in the Napa Valley.
Just terrible to see. Firefighters in Washington state are getting a helping hand, though, from space. SpaceX loaned first responders terminals that let them access its Starlink satellites, and that gives them internet service in areas where fires destroyed much of the communications infrastructure. Firefighters say they're using the service to organize their activities and request additional resources. Still to come on Channel 11 News at noon, why a local group of restaurant owners is headed back to court in a fight against COVID-19 restrictions. A big surprise on national television for a local school district in need. Students and teachers were presented with 2,500 laptops and free internet for a year.
It's a big opportunity. I mean, I really appreciate it.
Giving every student equal access to education makes us proud to be from Pittsburgh.
Proud to be from Pittsburgh. Brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Great cars, great people. For a great deal on a Honda, visit shophonda.com.
Watch Channel 11 News at 6.
Followed by NBC Nightly News at 6:30.
A group of local businesses that successfully sued to get the governor's COVID-19 restrictions lifted is now asking a higher court to block a stay in the case. They filed a motion yesterday after the governor tried to get a judge to order a stay. 2 weeks ago, a different judge ruled Wolf's business closure, stay at home, and restrictions on gatherings to be unconstitutional. After the ruling, Wolf said without his shutdown orders, the virus will spread.
All clear in Newcastle. Channel 11 told you this week powder was found in a letter sent to Newcastle City Council. Well, police sent the letter to the state crime lab, and the lab found no controlled substance on the envelope or letter. There was also no threatening message, so the case is closed.
A job fair will be held this weekend for the new casino in Westmoreland County. The job fair will be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday at the Westmoreland Mall. It will be in the parking lot along Route 30. The positions are for 2 restaurants at the casino, and one of the restaurants is Guy Fieri's American Kitchen and Bar. The other is Sports and Social Steel City. The casino is getting ready to open in just the next few months.
So we are officially out of California.
Packing up and moving on, how the pandemic is changing where we live.
And we're pretty nice outside right now. Temperatures on the cooler side, but even cooler as we go toward the end of the week. I'm talking temperatures when we come back.
Nobody can read between the lines.
She's an 18-year-old girl. She got a settlement. You saw a little money. You wanted a big red truck.
Like Judge Judy.
Shiny, shiny, shiny red truck.
Judge Judy, weekdays at 4 and 4:30 on Channel 11. You're watching WPXI Now, your source for original local shows. All the best things happening in Pittsburgh in one place. Watch 11 Things to Do, Thursday and Friday mornings at 9:15 on WPXI Now and on demand.
What's new?
What's now and what's next every morning
on Channel 11 Morning News.
The pandemic has pushed people to pick up and move this year, and that includes adult kids moving back home with their parents, people moving to find a new job, or just families leaving the city for more space. NBC's Dan Sheneman has more.
We're starting our trek to Texas.
The Reislings sold their home in Southern California and are now planning roots in Texas.
So we are officially out of California.
Tara was furloughed in May. Her husband, Brandon, still working, suggested they move.
He told me that if we moved to Texas, we could afford to live on his salary.
Reisling didn't want to leave her job and got permission to work remotely once the furlough was over.
Now we can move to Texas, and I can afford to wait for my job to come back.
The pandemic is giving people the push to move, whether it's for financial reasons or the realization they need more space.
In May, we started to see a big shift, people moving out of major cities.
According to recent polls, 1/3 of Americans are considering moving to less densely populated areas. And the number of young adults living with one or more of their parents grew to 26.6 million, an increase of 2.6 million from February. Chuck Kuhn, President and Chief Executive Officer of JK Moving, says business is booming.
We've seen a 44% increase in move volume from May through September.
Kuhn recommends shopping around for a mover and asking prospective companies about their COVID-19 policy.
When they go out to the job sites, they're wearing masks, they're wearing gloves. Our trucks are being sterilized daily.
A safe way to move in the midst of a new reality. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
Breaking in just the last few minutes, a federal appeals court says Pennsylvania can limit crowd sizes despite the ongoing legal battle. 4 local counties, Butler, Fayette, Greene, and Washington counties, sued the state, claiming the restrictions were unconstitutional. A judge agreed, but the governor appealed. So the restrictions will remain in effect as the case plays out. We're working on how this will impact you for Channel 11 News coming up at 5 and 6.
All right, very interesting. A new COVID-19 testing system is about to take off at a major American airport. Tampa International Airport is set to become the first in the nation to launch a COVID testing site in the main terminal. The voluntary tests are for passengers about to leave or those who have just landed. Results come back in just 15 minutes.
Well, I would like to know the results. You know, I'm all for the testing to find out if I'm exposing others.
If you test positive before flying, you're told don't get on the plane. And if you just landed and tested positive, everyone on that plane will be notified there was a positive patient on board.
Chopper 11 shows the progress on the new turnpike along I-79 near Bridgeville. You're looking at Route 576. When it's done, it will go from Pittsburgh International Airport to Finleyville. Part of the project includes rebuilding parts of I-79. The Washington Monument reopens today with new coronavirus safety measures. It has been closed for 6 months because of the pandemic. The National Park Service says visitors will have to wear masks, and it will be closed every Monday for cleaning. The Park Service will also limit the number of people inside the monument at any given time.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Happy Thursday for your Thursday forecast. So far, so good, but we do have changes on the way as we continue on throughout this second half of the day. So 65 for the high, so kind of cool out there. May want to keep your jacket or sweater close by throughout the rest of the day, even as we go toward the peak of the daytime heating. Increasing clouds. So far we've seen a good bit of sunshine during the first half of the day, but we do have clouds increasing ahead of what we could have a few isolated showers. I say could because isolated meaning not everyone is going to see rain. As a matter of fact, most of the area will be dry today, so maybe you want to pull out the fire pit and light it up later this evening around supper time. Temperatures still in the 60s, lower 60s, and falling as we go towards sunset. And then after sunset, getting into the 50s. So temperatures continue to drop and get on the cooler side. So some fire. Not a bad idea, actually feeling pretty nice. What may not feel nice will be tomorrow morning, leaving first thing in the morning. And remember, the coolest temperature that we feel is right before sunrise. So we have all night to cool down. So right before sunrise is when we feel the coolest. So if you're leaving, let's say 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you're going to feel the cooler temperatures. It's going to take some time to warm up throughout the morning. Very cool start to the day. Temperatures in the low to even mid 40s as you walk out the door. And this perspective is showing even upper 30s possible. So a chilly start to the day. May want to have the heavier coat on as you head out and about. Those temperatures staying on the cooler side, cooler than today. So we could see temperatures reach near 60, but not quite. Upper 50s is what we're expecting for tomorrow. As far as any rain is concerned, again, at the low end of the spectrum, isolated at best for this afternoon, evening, and tonight. Similar story for tomorrow. Looking dry as we start the weekend. Good news for any outdoor plans we may have, since we're actually going to feel like fall. I imagine that there may be a lot of outdoor activities, and feel free to do so. Better rain chances come on Sunday with another system. The good news is, though, that'll be later in the day, so if you do need to head out and about, it should be good to go for most of the morning. Now, late into the morning hours, could run into a few rogue showers, calling it scattered showers, on and off showers. So I wouldn't cancel any plans. Just make sure to be weather aware this weekend, specifically on Sunday. Notice that those temperatures dip back down. Also notice the cool temperature for Saturday morning in the upper 30s, so a cool start to the day, but overall, Saturday looking pretty good. Late showers on Sunday, maybe an isolated shower on Monday, but looking dry, mostly cloudy, a little bit warmer in the lower 60s.
Female doctors get paid less than their male counterparts. That's according to a study in the New England Journal of Medicine. On average, female doctors make about 87 cents for every dollar male doctors earn. And that's not the only difference. Researchers also found female doctors spend more time with their patients and order more tests. On average, women earn 82 cents for every dollar a man makes for doing the same job.
It's been rough lately, so this is just like amazing, honestly.
The surprise of a lifetime. Why this woman just got over $1,000 just for doing her job.
Now time to check out your local steals and deals.
Hey, Lisa Robertson here with Local Steals and Deals, and this is the Amazon Blink 3-camera security system. So why is everybody talking about it? Well, number one, it's super easy, right? You put it up with 3 screws, there's no wires, you walk away, you download the app, instantly, boom, you're on. Not only that, you have great quality video day and night, so you don't have to worry about it. It's made to be outside. Don't worry about the storms. You have 2-way audio, so when someone comes up on your porch, you can talk to them. If someone's in your backyard, you can talk to them. This is such an easy way to have peace of mind, to know what's going on. There's a noise in the backyard. What was it? Look at the blink. Did somebody really leave that package? Look at the blink. It's a great way to keep an eye on the property of people you love, like your parents. Does everything look okay around your parents' house? You want to keep an eye on your own house. You want to keep an eye on your business, and you don't want to have to spend a huge amount of money, and you don't want to have to hire an electrician, and you don't want it to be complicated. Isn't it frustrating if you want to do something and then you can't make it work? The great thing about the Blink is it works. It's so simple. It works with your Alexa. It works with the Blink app. It's the simplest thing you've ever used, and you never have to worry about it. So this is the 3-camera system, which is awesome. By the way, we also have the Mini Blink, super cute, made for indoors. We have a special offer on both of these great Amazon Blink products. They're on localsteals.com, and I guarantee you, when it comes to peace of mind, these are the things you would design if you were absolutely going to design a peace of mind system yourself.
News is happening in your neighborhood. Channel 11 News is there.
We're in McCandless, Cranberry, and Butler.
We cover news everywhere you live, not just downtown.
We're in Aliquippa, Coraopolis, and Moon.
Bringing you stories that impact your town. That's what makes Channel 11 News different.
More local news from more neighborhoods. That's a fact.
We're in Bethel Park, South Park, and Mount Lebanon.
When you want news from where you live,
watch Channel 11 News at 5.
Nobody can read between the lines like Judge Judy.
1,100, 20, 40, 60, 80.
A waitress got the tip of a lifetime thanks to two women who are using social media to support the service industry.
Two women in New Mexico were inspired by the Venmo challenge on TikTok. Users across the world asked their followers to donate money that will contribute to a big tip at restaurants. And the women raised $1,200 for a waitress.
I'm extremely grateful. I love my community. I just never thought I would be chosen to receive something like this. It's been rough lately, so this is just like amazing, honestly. Me and my daughter are gonna have a little fun with it, so just really made my day, and I'm just so grateful.
They also surprised another waitress earlier this month with $370, and they plan on collecting donations every month for more big tips. That's it. That's all for Channel 11 News. At noon, our next newscast is tonight at 5 o'clock.
You can get breaking news updates anytime on our streaming apps. Just search WPXI on Apple TV, Roku, or Amazon Fire. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Enjoy.